All right, what's up, familia? Welcome inside the pad. Hope you guys are doing good. Keep in between the lines. Got your load secure. All right. Hey, man. Glad to have this individual back. I cannot wait to chop it up with them, man. There's a lot of things I would love to talk with this individual about. I'm talking about my man, Rudy from Chicano Ideas. Rudy, what's up, big dog?
How's it going? How's it going? Just another day, being able to wake up and I'm alive, enjoying the night off work.
That's right, man. You know, there's that old saying, you can't keep a good man down. So as long as I could get up, I guess I'm doing something all right, man.
Right
I guess
on.
I'm doing something all right. But
Right
how's everything going up there? How's the weather and everything up there for you, man?
It's been stormy. It's actually not storming today. It's been storming the past couple of days, and today it's not because they knew I had somebody driving into town. So the weather was like, all right, I'll give you a break. But other than that, it's been stormy, and it's not today, luckily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Say, I mean, down here we got hit with some pretty good rain, and probably not as much as up there. I mean, we never get the rain that you guys get in Northern
Right.
California, but we got some pretty good rain down here, and the
Right on.
cold is really starting to settle in. The cold
Right
weather
on.
is definitely starting to settle in, man. My windshield early in the morning it's frozen. There's a little thin layer of ice on the windshield and all that good stuff, man. But down here we gotta appreciate those cold days because we don't get many of them.
Right. That's what I hear. It
Yeah.
never rains in Southern California, right? That song?
Yeah, man. You gotta appreciate those rainy days as well, man. So you know, I enjoy it, dog. And you know what I do for a living, trucking. I like trucking in the rain, dog. I do.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I do. I get tired of just pure sunny days and everything, man. When the weather starts kicking in, it's something different. You know, even a
Okay.
little bit of snow is not too bad. Not too much snow,
Okay.
but a little bit of snow, I don't mind that either. The thing that I don't really like is the wind. That's it.
Right,
When it
right.
gets windy, that's what freaks me out, dog.
Right on.
But
Right on. Yeah.
anyway, hey, Rudy, man, so many things, man, that I would want to talk to you about, man. And this is the second time I have you on.
Right.
But man, I'm definitely want to bring you back on many more times to cover many more subjects, man. But
Right on.
anyway, you saw one of my videos,
Right.
one of my old videos,
Mhm.
that's labeled "I Hate White People."
Right.
I named it that. I titled it that because that same day, that's an older video. That's well over a year old. As a matter of fact, for anybody who's watching, if you guys want to go check that, I'm actually still cussing on those videos, man. So those old videos, and I kind of wanted to take those down because I don't like it. But you know, I talked to Pastor David Rocha, and he's all like, "Nah, leave them up, man, so you can see your growth." And I'm like, "Yeah, all right, I
Yeah.
guess, man."
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
but I got the idea for that title
Mhm.
because I was making a delivery, and there's this black woman, and she just openly, she was part of the receiving crew, and she just openly, with no discreet, she wasn't being discreet about it. She just openly said, "I hate white people."
Right.
I don't really know what the conversation really was, but there was a conversation going on. I wasn't like really eavesdropping, but I was able to catch a little bit of what their conversation was.
Right.
And yeah, it had to do a little bit with dealing with a white person and something like that. I don't really want to get the story wrong, so I'm not really gonna say what I thought I heard. But then she says, "I hate white people." Like she didn't keep it on the hush hush, nothing, just openly said it. And it kind of got me to thinking that, man, like hatred for white people, I mean, in some ways, it's acceptable.
Mhm.
And I remember growing up in the barrios and all. And nobody actually told me to hate white people. Nobody said, "Hey, come here, mijo," and sit me on their lap and said, "You know what? You need to have this kind of resentment towards white people." Nobody ever did that. That never happened.
Right.
But the attitude, the atmosphere, the environment of whenever white people were brought up, or whenever there was a white person, or anything like that, I saw it was a lot of negativity. And you don't necessarily, nobody needs to tell you something, but if you're young and you hear a conversation, you can't turn your ears off, they're
Right.
just on. So when you hear adults talking a certain way, you're picking that up. And I realized, looking back, that it was pretty acceptable, and I think still till this day is somewhat acceptable to have a, maybe hate's a strong word, but a dislike for white
Yeah.
people. Nobody is really gonna accuse you of being racist or have hate in your heart if you have some sort of bad, ill feel towards white people. And I just wanted to point that out, man. But you saw that video, Rudy. What was your feelings about it, big dog?
Uh, well, just like obviously, like I'm younger than you, and so like I've had plenty of white friends, and like you probably got a good 10 years on me, 15 years on me, because I'm 31. And so one, I could just say, okay, well, one, obviously the further back you go, it makes sense on why brown and black people will hate white people, because the further back in history you go, you see the mistreatment. So it makes sense on why your grandpa, your grandma, your older aunt that's way older than you would be more accepting to not disliking or saying white people, because of the history of everything that has happened amongst the system of America. And but like for me, obviously I haven't really experienced that depth of racism and different water fountains. But as a young kid, understanding why the hatred, because there's not like, I can't go an hour into it, but it's just like, okay, from my generation, I remember guys telling me that their uncles that are white kids are would tell them, why are you hanging around with these Mexicans? Why are you hanging around with these black kids? And with my generation of whites and blacks and us being more universal together, we don't understand that. But as someone of my age and of the ethnicity that we are, we have to understand the system. Like we learn, I hear like, seeing stuff on the movies, Menace to Society, they talk about the white man, and, the white man came, don't join the white man's army is what I always heard too. And as I started learning what the system really is, why is this, because I always believe everybody get along to be along with each other. But even when I started understanding colonialism and what is white supremacy or white dominance of the system, the only way it's always been allowed is because like the history amongst of what has happened and the way we was mistreated. Because there's no point of us making fun of other minorities when they were in the same place. Why would we go make fun of some blacks and when we know what they've been through, the same stuff that amongst the peers of people? But yes, of course, Caucasian white Europeans amongst the years have given up a lot of their privileges, and we got to acknowledge that. Yes, they've given up a lot of privileges. So now, as someone who started learning about history and colonialism and the Nation of Islam and Mexica movement, and I talk about separation because I believe in separation also. But at separation, people automatically think it's hate. But there's nothing wrong with a people and a culture who's been dismantled to rebuild themselves. Separation doesn't always mean hate, like especially because we're a people who live amongst our own land. It doesn't matter if I live in California or Canada. We're a part of this continent. This is our homeland. We automatically think Mexico, but it don't matter what part, East Coast, West Coast, like we've been here, we're rooted here. And so it's just, I don't know if it's just that it's under like I don't know we were gonna go deep into this, but it's understanding on especially further back though. Like you're older. It's the more back you go into history, the more racism, the more slavery, the more this system was really white dominated. So it makes sense on why someone older, and especially back in the days, like you say, it's okay or it's allowed to. And there's only been, yes, I remember, see, where I live in Sacramento County, that outer part is all hillbilly-ish is what you would call it, and rich area. So El Dorado Hills, Folsom, you know you're gonna get, if you go towards where that person that I was talking about, where she lives more up north, it's more what people would call hick, more, especially
Okay.
back in the days, right?
Okay.
So that's the experience you're gonna get. You go to Folsom or El Dorado Hills, you got the bougie white people who are looking at you one way. And so I remember my freshman year, I played a football game and everybody was saying, get ready for the racism, get ready. And El Dorado Hills, the rich town of Northern California, one of them. And these kids were happy that they tied the game with us because we were undefeated almost that whole year. And when we were leaving, it was like the first time I really, like I've experienced some like light, like just some light, racism, but it was really like these kids were calling us slurs, everything. Like even the parents were right there. I was like, wow, and this is 2005. And so even as I learned, like Caucasian people, especially the ones that I remember acting real like brothers, I think that like some of them kind of grew up and like they understand that. See, they dominate the system, and there's nothing wrong with them somewhat being proud that that's their flag more than ours. Than I believe that's their culture. This is their history. When we learn and read everything, it's about them. So I mean, I'm just gonna slow it down, let you take it, but
Oh man, hey, you said a lot right there, man. That's why I'm so happy to talk to you, man. Hey, for one, homie, I don't got that many years on you, dog. I'm 40.
Okay,
I'm
okay,
40,
okay.
man. Yeah. You're over here trying to put
I didn't
15
know.
years on me, big dog.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure.
No, look, you're right in many ways. The further back you go, the more mistreatment you can see, segregation and all that. That's not where we're at today, and that's not where we have been in quite a few years. I do see people trying, or not trying, they do it. They hold on to history, and they continually want to use that in today's standards. How you gave the example, okay, back in 05, like that's not that long ago, and you're saying that they're calling you racial slurs and stuff like that. I do believe that when a white person says something racial, people take it with more malice than they do if somebody else said. I've had black people say derogatory things to me. For one reason or another, I don't think people take it the same. They don't take it with the same energy as if a white person were to say it. Right. They take it more offensive if a white person say it, even though they mean it with the same malice, the same tone, the same words. I've now just been like, hey, you know what? It's on the individual. I don't care, what color or anything they are. Whoever is saying it, they're saying it. I don't care if they're, white, black, any color in between, whatever background they have. If they mean something racial towards me with bad intent, then they mean it. It's just because it's, somebody, even if it's somebody else, even if it's a Cuban, right? Because, I'm Mexican. Let's say a Cuban comes out and says something derogatory towards Mexican or Chicanos or something like that. I'm not gonna look at him and say like, well, I mean, it's probably not that bad because he's Cubano. Had he been white, I'm gonna take it a lot worse. I do see that kind of happening. I myself have learned to let that go. Whoever is saying it is just saying it. But it's really not made a big deal when somebody who's not white says things like that. Now, to say now, well, there's a lot I want to say, man. Hey, Rudy, first of all, you believe in what is it? Separation. Separation. Define that a little bit, man. I've heard that here and there.
Well, one, I would have to start. That's why I wish you would have listened to that speech, and hopefully you could listen to that when you're and it's gonna be, and if you would have listened to it, it's irrelevant to what we're talking about. And it's crazy that I had this feeling to send it to you while you happen to tell me to hit you up. But separation, for those who want it, right? For those who are aware and want separation, on not based off hate, but based on the love and understanding of who we are and who we once were, and knowing that we are here, we are like captives, refugees. We are here on our own land, and we don't understand that. So for those, like the Mexica movement is an example who a lot of Mexicans know, or the Nation of Islam. Let's use the Nation of Islam because they've been around for many of years and they're well established. So the Nation of Islam, when you join their organization, they're already many years ahead of us. They get you your own job through them. You go through their own schooling. You go through their own housing. They got their own programs for their people. They own their own communities, pretty much, like the Koreans, the Jewish. They all own their own communities, but yet we don't. We're here. Yes, we got taquerias and all that, but yet we're not dominants. We don't have no structure of when someone joins our organization, they're well taken care of. They're rehabilitated mentally. Guys get off drugs and alcohol. If you know about the Nation of Islam, they're like, whether the religion aspect, but they really do change people's lives. But so it's all about if you want to rebuild. And so most of the time when you talk separation from America, people is like, well, why don't you just leave America? Well, you have to explain, well, we've been here. This is America. We were here before this was America, for one. And like me, I get into it because I say I'm not an American. I'll say I'm not an American. And they're like, well, I'm an American because of boarding schools, because of colonialism, because of this. We're products of colonialism to the best. We'll never understand who we were. We could read about it the best we can, but we'll never fully understand. And so, people think that we gotta dress a certain way, we gotta live on reservations, or we gotta have a ID certified by the government that says we're Native Americans. But it comes down to understanding self, of we know who we are. Yes, we're mestizos and we're Indios, Spaniards, but yet we never left. This is still our homeland. Like when you read about all the boarding schools, the Catholic priests, the missionaries that they built, that they held children and everybody in and made them confine, and this is generations of kids growing up to, this is the standard, of us being like a white man. That's the standard, that's the truth. Like this is the way they built it, And so when it's not even based off hate, it's just understanding what this system was built off, right? Okay. So now that we understand that, what are we gonna do now? That's what it's about. What are we gonna do now? Separation, it's gonna take many people that want to be involved, and we need examples like the Nation of Islam to,
Are you talking about like decolonization?
Like I mean, decolonization in one way could put it as in like just learning your history and learning yourself is one way. But like I was saying, we'll never fully be decolonized. We'll never truly understand who we were because we've been framed to this mindset and this way of life for so many generations. This is how we're gonna be. And yeah, we gotta accept it. But it's all about knowing who we were and to rebuild who we want to be for those of us who would want it amongst the separation of the United States, if that could ever get like that.
Do you consider yourself an American or you don't?
No, I don't consider myself an American. I'm not a proud American. Yes, I was born here, but we already were here. Like, where am I gonna go, to China? Like, this is my home continent. I don't gotta leave. Like, I don't have, like, yes, this is the system that was created. But like the best example was the Nation of Islam on how they created their own amongst the system, like excluding the religion part, the economics that they built for themselves, the education that they regained and understanding who they are as a Black man amongst a system that dismantled them. And so and people, yeah.
Okay, so man, okay, so let's get into, okay, so one, you were saying that we don't really own much. We own like little taquerias and stuff like that, but we don't own, corporations and businesses like that. Like you were saying, the Nation of Islam, how they do, and they build their people up. Okay. Do you think that's a system today, or do you think that's us ourselves doing it to one another? Because the education is there, it's open to anybody and everybody. When I don't tell my sons, hey, you can't make it because you're raza. So man, we need to band together in order for you guys to make it. No, I tell them, hey, go get your education. This is, we're not 60 years ago. We're not 70 years ago. Go get your education. Go, apply yourself well. Stay out of the drugs, stay out of the alcohol, stay out of incarceration, stay out of the gang, stay out of that life that we have poisoned ourselves with. Okay, so one can go up and make it. When people talk about, hey, the system and the system and the system, well, look, the system is there for everybody. I mean, if white people, Black people, Asians, I mean, look at Asians flourish. They are not really, for the most part, not really starting organizations. They focus on family, culture, values, morals, education, and they're building themselves up. They're pretty successful, as opposed to, I would say Black and brown that have a lot of, divorces, baby mama over here, baby mama over there, incarceration, gangs, drugs. And I would like to see the gente break out of that more.
Right.
And really apply themselves. I don't think we need we need to start some sort of group to do this. No, it's just, hey, gente, everybody, man, like, let's knock that off. We did that for so many years. And what, if we look at it, if we're gonna look at each other as a group of gente, like you said, what do we got? Little taquerias here and there, barbershops here and there. But, the goal can be to really build something bigger. But because somebody builds something bigger, it doesn't mean that everybody now, rides with or rises with that person. That person built something for them. Sure, they can go ahead and give here and there and give opportunities, but you cannot, everybody just can't rely on the one person that's making it. Everybody has to strap up their own laces of their boots and go out there and make it for themselves.
Right.
So this thing, right? let's get into the colonialism, man. Like, hey, man, this is our land, right? For one, I am a proud American. I am proud to be in this country. There's many countries around the world. Not all of them are bad. You know, there's some pretty good, well-off countries out there. Is this the best country in the world? I haven't been to every country. But I am proud to be here. I am proud to be here. I do appreciate the rights and the freedoms that we do have here. Maybe not here in the state of California, but in the rest of the country, yeah. I am a proud American. To me, American doesn't mean that you're white. I know people want to keep going back and back in many years and saying, hey, do you know how this started? Do you know how this started? Do you know how this started? Okay, that's many years ago. Okay, we can go back. You know, are street gangs a good thing today? No, they're not. Many of those street gangs started to defend against racism. Should we continue looking back and saying like, oh, no, that barrio, they're good people, man. They're just here to defend against racism. Nah, that's not what gangs are today anymore. Some gangs, believe it, hey, man, there's quite a few barrios, homie, that were high school football teams.
Right.
You know, we can't look at those barrios today as, oh, man, they're just a couple of guys that just like to toss around the football. Some of these guys don't even play football anymore for many, many, many years now. But that's how they started. You know, we can go on how something was started, why this is named that, why it's named that, but is it that today? Are these gang banging barrios today? Are they, yeah, they started as a high school football team. Are they still just out there throwing the football around? Charlie, dog. Some of these guys never even picked up a football or played football. So things do change. To say that this was our land, I mean, it's part of the world.
Yeah,
you know, it's part of the world. When I hear historians talk, you know, like the Mexicas and all that, man, and say like, hey, get in touch with your roots and all that stuff. There's some good stuff that I like to hear. There is. I'm not gonna say, hey, man, I toss everything. No, there's some good stuff I like to hear, man. And I do like it, and I do appreciate having some pride and some culture. I do. It doesn't, being American doesn't mean, you know, you throw on some cowboy boots and watch NASCAR. To me, you know, me, American here, low riding, dog, and you know, listening to my firme oldies and all that good stuff, man. You know, kicking with my beautiful, crazy local wife and the opportunities, being a trucker, all that good stuff, man. To me, that's what America is, you know, to me. It's America is freedom to be whoever it is that you want to be. You know, that's why I never called anybody a sellout.
Right.
There's a lot of things I don't agree with. I see raza acting, talking, walking, and I don't agree with it, but I'll never call them a sellout. It's like, you're free to do that. I don't like it. But you're free to do that. But you're free to do that. That's the route you're going to take. And that's the price that comes with freedom. You know, we could have tribalism, and it's like, no, you don't have a choice. You're going to follow this. This is what you're going to follow. It could be that way. You know, had all this not taken place, maybe it would have been that way. But you know, there is a price that comes with freedom, and that is tolerance with people that are not gonna line up with the way you believe they should line up. You know, if it were up to me, homie, we'd all be all creased up, dog. Be like, you know, but that's not, it ain't up to me, homie. I'm not a dictator, dog. But so what, like, you're well educated, Rudy. That's why, man, I love talking to you. You're well educated.
I just know how to read. That's it.
Yeah. And man, homie, I definitely appreciate. I like the fact, man, that you open your mind to so many other things, like the Nation of Islam. Not too much of the raza is, you know, educated in any of that, man. But I like the fact that you reach out, man, and you take you know, a lot of different knowledge in. So why won't you consider yourself an American? If an American doesn't make you white,
Right. No,
you
I
know,
know.
so why wouldn't you consider yourself an
Like you were saying, you just said that our people already suffered for us to have this freedom, though. That's what we got to be aware. So we already were forced to do this and be that way. That's why we are and talk and dress the way we are. So our people already been through all that for us to have what we are at. We don't understand that. You said we have our freedoms and we're not getting told what to do. We already been told what to do. That's why we talk the way we do. That's why we dress the way we do. Our people already been that, and so we already been a part of it, but we think we're not. What we already are in the system. We've already been told what to do. That's why we already celebrate these holidays. That's why we believe the system. The system of freedom was based off our people's corruption, off the black man, the brown man's corruption. So growing up, I always felt like I've been told by white people that black people are more American than Mexicans. I'm like, when I was a kid, like before I heard that stuff, like I didn't understand that, like just not knowing or anybody not understanding history. It always felt like it always seemed like white people made it seem like they were here and they created this and we all came here. That's what it always seemed like being young. That's what it always felt like, trying to like be proud, but it was always like we just came here. It was like, nah, it was built off of us. You guys should be thanking us. Like you guys should be putting it out there more. Like you think like, what am I like? I understand. Yes, we do got all these freedoms, but it's already based off the colonialism and of our ancestors. And these labels and titles, if the people want to use them, then use them. Like I keep saying, if you always keep saying, for those who want, I will always say, for those who want. But those who don't want, like me, use these titles. And yes, I get that the world is the way. The United States was basically pretty much built off us already. So who am I thanking? What am I thanking? I'm thanking my ancestors that I survived, the ones who fought. That's the reason why I'm alive. I'm alive because the fight continued. And luckily my bloodline, your bloodline, and seed stayed alive. So just me being an American, I understand it. But the system was already based off of us. We already been told what to do, and we already are doing what they want us to do.
Who's they?
Like pretty much like the system that would like I get people hate the word system, but that's just the word. Like the system of the United States that was built off colonialism, built off colonialism. So
okay.
yeah.
When you said that's why the way we talk, we've been told to talk the way we talk. What do you mean by that?
Like that's a part of being told what to do. Our people already been told what to do. We are like our people have been told what to do, and they just so once you train your dog could train the puppy. So it was just a continuance of this is the standard of being an American. We always look the standard truth since back in the day is the white man to say this is how we gotta talk, this is how we gotta be. But because of our rebel side, like blacks, they created their own way of being that, no one wanted to be like they said back in the 50s, like, hey, hello, like, we created our own style off the colonialism. That's what we don't realize. Being black, because we say you act black or you act Mexican, that's because they created that style based off, the way they were created in the system. Because it seemed like from knowing history, we didn't want to act that way. And that was being rebellious So we created our own style and stilo, and which is considered ghetto. But to me, if you talk like in a way a white man and perfect while you're being manipulated, then if I were to see it back in the days, like if I'm learning this way while you're being sly, you're being smooth with your words, and throughout history, look at the way you treated us with your sly talking, and but recreate our own style and lingo off this system, trying not to be them, but we already are them. That's what I'm saying. We already are them. They already built how they wanted us to be, but we don't. Some of us don't get that. We don't realize that. I understand that. I'm never gonna be decolonized perfect. I'm never gonna be fully what we want to be. We gotta understand that. And I don't know, like, yeah, my man.
but Rudy, it isn't everybody told, isn't everyone given a standard, no matter where you are in the world. Let's say colonials, let's say they, the Spaniards, the Portuguese, let's say they never came over here and it was tribes. It was tribes. Don't you teach the youth how to talk, how to act, what's appropriate? I mean, everything can be looked at as being put as a standard. What's acceptable, what's not acceptable. So regardless of anything, anywhere in the world, you are told as a young child how to be, how to act, what's presentable, what's not presentable, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable. Anywhere you go, there is some sort of standard, just like language, how to talk. What language are you going to speak? Language is basically just noises that comes out of your mouth. When you hear a foreign language that you don't understand, like German or something, it just sounds like noise coming out, or Asian, it just sounds like noises coming out of your mouth. But you are taught, hey, make this noise. That is what this means.
Yeah.
So when you say that, we've already been told what to do. No matter if it was just, let's just say it was just the indigenous here, right? You're going to be told what to do. If it was some sort of tribe or anything, you're going to be told what to do, how to conduct yourself. Anywhere, everywhere you go around the globe, that is just humanity. Of you're being told this is how you conduct yourself. Now, either you follow it or you rebel against it. And if you rebel against it, there's a consequence. Here, you become this outlaw, and you could be incarcerated. In other places, you could be put to death. In other places, you're ostracized from society, whatever the society is. Okay, so if it was just our gente here, you would still have to follow some sort of guideline. And if not, who knows what would be the consequence if you do not follow the guideline. So isn't everybody told what to do, Rudy?
But the way how we're talking about history, the way they did it, it was a genocide told what to do. Even they weren't, and like you said, they were telling grown men what to do. They weren't breeding children. They were telling grown men, this is how you're gonna act. Like, so it was not socialism. It wasn't an agreement of let's build this standard together. It was my way or no way. So it's different too, because even if we were fighting amongst each other, that would have been a whole different program. But we had what we call a whole different breed, a whole different race, a whole people we never seen, a whole different way of life we didn't even know that was out there, come and say, this is the new standard now. Drop everything what you believe in. We're tearing down these pyramids. We're tearing this down. This is the way, or, so.
Well, okay, let's yes, and you're right about that. But at the same time, anything and everything in this world is there for the taking. People get caught up, and I'm not talking about you, Holmes. I'm just talking about it just in general. People get caught up about this is our land. This is our land. Well, you know what? We can only go back so far in history. Nobody till this day has a true solid fact on how humanity first started. Some believe in God and Adam and Eve,
Right.
like I do. Some believe in evolution, the Big Bang theory. Some have other beliefs, whatever it may be. Nobody can truly prove solidly how human beings came to be. So if you're going to go back so many years and say this was ours, well, wait, why did you stop there? Why not go before that? How do you know that we didn't come to this land and take it from somebody else 1 million years ago, 2 million years ago? There's no proof of that. Why not the animals? Why not, hey, we took land from the animals? You know, we have dominion, that we kill animals. I'm not talking about today. We could go back in the day.
Mhm.
I mean, the land is there. The earth is here. Land, in my opinion, does not belong to anybody. It does not belong to anybody. We're all here and everything is there for the taking, homie. If China becomes this big powerhouse and overtakes America, then guess what, dog? It becomes theirs until somebody can overtake it from them. Everything is there for the taking. This right here, this is my house. I bought it. I own it. Okay, this is mine. Here's the thing though, Rudy. If China comes over here, and by the way, I got paperwork to prove it, right? I got documents. I got like, no, this is mine. I own it. If China comes over here and starts bombing and really taking over land and everything, they're not going to look at any documents. That's only in that only counts for the society that we have today. But if they come over here, guns roaring and everything, and they're taking over this land, I could show them all the paperwork, all the documents. They want this and they can overthrow me and kick me out of here, you know, kill me or whatever. And there's nobody to stop them. They've overtaken all of our military and everything. Then it's there for the taking, man. It's there for the taking, God, man.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
that's why I can appreciate the society that we do have, the society of safety. Obviously, you know, life is not perfect. It's not perfect, you know, but one can only go so far back in history.
Right.
And that's what people do. They go so far back in history, and then, you know, they continually talk about, hey, they came over here in ships and they took over our land. Well, you know, for one, I mean, hey, if they were able to do that, they were able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And second of all, our land, first, you know, you and I weren't there.
Right, right.
You know, we weren't there. Yes, we could go back and say, we can go back and say, okay, our ancestors. Okay,
Right.
cool, fine, so be it. All right. If it never would have happened,
we would have never used the term our land because we wouldn't have to.
Probably, but also really, who knows where this land would be at today? Who would have stopped, you know, who would have stopped Japan from coming and taking this land? Who would have stopped anybody? If we couldn't, you know, again, if our ancestors could not have stopped people coming over here on ships and taking over an entire continent, which again, to me, it's just earth. It's all there for the taking. You build your village. If you have to defend it, you got to defend it. Whether it's a huge nation, small country, you know, all you live off is a mountain. It's all there for the taking. Rules, laws, regulations, that's all within your community. But if somebody comes, you know, if Independence Day happens and the aliens come down and they want to take over the land, it doesn't matter what documents you have, what money you spend on whatever property. If they're able to take it from you, they're able to take it from you. But what I'm saying is, if they were able to come and take over this continent, and they were able to do it, and if they did not do it, this continent is so large. It's a massive piece of land on this earth Do you really do you believe, Rudy, that it would still be just nothing but indigenous people here? Or do
I
you think
mean,
that other
it could
people would have
because
been here by now, by this year?
there would have been other people here, but I mean, Asians are still on their land. Everybody else is still on their land and they know who they are, but we're the only people who are on our land, but yet honoring a whole nother system that was built for us. Like, it's just the only reason why we use these terms was because of our ancestors before us starting revolution, like Corky and all these guys. The only reason why we know about these terms was because of the activists and revolutionaries before us creating these ideas. So we're the only, the thing is everybody else is still on their homeland and they know who they are. Whether if Asians got Asians oppressed, they're not facing, they don't got a whole other breed of people depressing them. It's a different because we got a whole other what people would call race of people who put a standard on us. It's not self on self. It's not our own going against our own. And so this is why the only reason why we use labels like our land and them, just because of, you know, the system, just because our way our ancestors put it. Just think, see, because when I see it, I put it out there as in just, you know, this is how truthfully it was created. See, we're having a discussion on why people talk like this. And if maybe I put some sense or we get some sense out there and accept, like, this is why I tell my son, let's say as he's older, this is why people would hate white people, because the truth is this is how the system was built. And teach him about activists, and these are where this mindset comes from. And because it's just a lot, G. It's just a lot, carnal. Because it's pretty much just, we pretty much got to agree on, yes, the system was built off this, and this is what it is. And we either agree to those who, you got to understand, do you understand why the Mexica movement wants to be separate? That's the thing. Do you understand? Like, you know what? Let's just say I agree with them, but that's not for me. They got a point. You know, that's it. Like, it's just understanding. It's just understanding why. That's what I'm curious. Like, why it was this system really? What is it, this system? Why do Black people, why do our people dislike this system? And that's just like common sense of, you got to agree on common sense of what was built and why was this stuff created the way it was, you know?
Honestly, Rudy, honestly, homie, I think they don't like the system because they're told not to like the system.
Yeah.
I some probably really truly don't like the system. Some probably truly really don't. But honestly, man, growing up, like I said, nobody sat me on their knee and said, hey, don't you like this system? Don't you like this country? Hate this country? Nobody said that to me. You know, nobody, it was just the atmosphere. It was just out there. So, you know, a lot of this not liking the system and a lot of system talk, right?
Right.
I think a lot of people are told not to like the system.
Right.
And so they say we don't like the system. But here's the thing. I mean, here's the thing, okay? If, you know, Raza starts their own system, not all Raza is gonna be, you know, down with it. By the way, who starts that system? There's got to be some sort of leaders. Well, what if I don't agree with those leaders? What if you don't agree with those leaders? But they're a Raza and they're starting their own system. And it's like, whoa, wait a second. I don't agree with that. But now I got to look at them because, you know, apparently they're my own people. So now we got to fall under their system. But because they're, you know, we're, you know, the same, I got to fall in line, even though I don't agree with their system. And, you know, there's a lot of this in gangs. Right. You know, gangs, it's like, hey, man, there's a, you know, both grew up in gangs. It's like, hey, homie, you know, I don't like this and I don't like that. And just because you're all from the same barrio, it doesn't mean that you all, you know, agree on everything. And then as things go on, man, there are, you know, not everybody in the same gang likes one another and gets along with one another. And some kind of stray away, and then you see start seeing backstabbing and things of that nature. But what I'm saying is like, okay, like you said, you know, others that even if they're oppressed by their own kind. I mean, does that really matter? Does that mean if you're really being oppressed, does it really matter if it's from somebody else or from your own kind? I mean, if you're being oppressed, homie, you're being oppressed. To me, I don't care if it's a black, white, or raza. It really doesn't matter. If I'm being oppressed, if somebody is putting me in slavery, I don't care the race of the person. I care that I'm enslaved. That's all I care about, dog. And to me, it's not like, well, you know what? At least it's not a white dude. If I'm enslaved, homie, if I'm being mistreated, that's all that matters to me, man. And I want to get out of that situation. It's not, well, you know what? He's raza, so it could be worse because it could be somebody who's not. You're enslaved, man. I mean, in Africa, you got blacks that have black slaves till this day. I mean, does it really matter to those slaves, man, that it's black people or that, you know, at least it's not white people? To me, all that would matter is that I'm enslaved and I need to get out of it, regardless of anything, man. And to think that if, you know, colonialism didn't happen, to think that we'd be living here and everything would be all good and great, man, it's, you know, problems, everybody's human beings, man. Problems will still be happening. There'll still be wars. There'll still be differences. There'll be tribalism. There'll be all that stuff, which there is today. In this country, there's tribalism. You know, people break off into their own groups, do their own things, don't get along with other groups. I'm not necessarily just talking about gangs, but we could include gangs. But there'd still be all that stuff, man. It wouldn't be all, you know, good, great, and nothing but loving family. It'd be problems, man. I mean, if you get a community that's nothing but, you know, your own kind, there's problems. You know, there's problems. I will say this, Rudy. I will say this, and I have said this before, and I'll say it now. Okay, I do like being around, you know, my gente. You know, I do find, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. I find comfort in it. Okay, but here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. What's their stealing? What's their get down? Okay, you have people from coast to coast, same country, but you got different styles, different accents all around the country. You meet a white person from Boston, they got a different accent from a white person in Alabama. They're both white, they're both raised in America, but they got different accents, different upbringings, all that kind of stuff, right? Do I want to separate, you know, raza from the Southwest to raza in Chicago or New York or anything? No, I don't. But styles have brought some sort of not hatred, but differences and tribalism. And even here where I'm at, you know, if there's some Chicano with his pants sagging, saying nigga this, nigga that, everything, I'm probably not really hanging out with the vato. You know, that's just it. You know, does he have to be, hey, Holmes, what's up? I said, nah. Not like that either. But, you know, differences in estilos do separate, you know, and like I said, I don't want to say tribalism because then it makes it seem like we don't get along or anything like that. But, you know, it does put you, you know, I was talking to Pastor David the other day, and he brought up something really, he made a great point. He said, if you get 20 white guys and 20 Chicanos and you put them on the schoolyard, right? Most likely the whites are going to stick with the whites and the Chicanos are going to stick with the Chicanos, right? Most likely that's what's going to happen. Now, you get the whites and you remove them. Okay, there are no more whites.
Right.
It's just the 20 Chicanos. Right. Within those 20 Chicanos, they're going to find differences within each other, and they're going to break off into little small groups. It's just kind of human nature, man.
Yeah.
It's just kind of human nature. So when I say like I'm a proud American, yeah, I look, most nations around the entire world, most countries around the entire world have a history of genocide, war, rape. You go back in history, it was much more barbaric than what it is today. And some of these countries still are like that. But just about every country, man, was one, I don't know if I should say one, but was made up off of war, pillaging, rape, genocide, killing, all that stuff, man, including this one. But that's not where we're at today, man. And I see a lot of opportunity, man. And I think as a gente, I think we waste a lot of the opportunity, man. We waste a lot of the opportunity on just putting ourselves down, saying that, this system was made against us. And maybe it was made against us. Maybe that's why it was made. But like I said earlier, gangs, why were they made? Some of them started as high school. They were made as football, as high school football teams. That's not what they are today. So what is it today? I see it as a lot of opportunity. I don't want gente to squander that, man. I think they could really make a difference. And people like you, Rudy, who's got a great head on their shoulders, brother. I think you're very smart, man. I really do, Carnal. And you're open, your mind is open, man. And you're out there and you're getting knowledge here and there, man. And seeing when I see people like you, homie, it gives me a good feeling. It does. It gives me a good feeling, Carnal. But all I'm gonna say is how long should we hold on to history? I get what you're saying, the system. Okay, the system was made this way, it was made that way. This is why we talk this way. This is why we speak English. I mean, I've heard that one. I mean, have you heard that one?
I don't speak Spanish. I don't know Spanish.
Right. And the whole thing is too, like, hey, that's another European language. That's not our language either. I mean,
because I've been told I was whitewashed, I'm not Mexican, because that's a whole nother story. So
yeah, you know what?
Because we don't understand. See, it's not holding on to history, it's understanding history.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rudy, let me ask you this, Holmes. Let me ask you this. What if you were white? What if you were white and you lived here and your family goes back 7 generations here? What would you do? Or when somebody brings something like this to you,
right?
If they go up to you, I mean, you're born and raised here. Your mother, father, born and raised here. Your grandparents, your great grandparents. You're 5-6 generations here, man. So if somebody goes up to you and says like, "Hey, you took this land from us," I mean, if you were white, what would you say? It's like, this is my home. Isn't this your home too?
Like, well, I don't know, but I will say there's white people who put this information out there that I've learned from. White people, these books that I read about colonialism and white people they're from white people. So white people admit this, and white people put it out there on their genocide. All the people who they call liberals or whatever, white people are aware of this. They know this. It's just understanding that.
Rudy, what is a white person supposed to do though? What's a white person? It's like, okay, a white person knows. They understand what happened. Okay, what is that white person supposed to do? Is this not their home? They're born and raised here. Their parents are born and raised here. Their great grandparents are born and raised here. They got 6-7 generations here. I mean, what's that white person supposed to do?
As in, well, me, I would admit, like, okay, from my point of view, you see, I'm not like, oh, these fools gotta go. But yes, this is their home. But it's just acknowledging, it's really understanding that, you know, it's like those people that acknowledge, they put history out there. So those white people, what are they supposed to do? They do it. They write the books, they make YouTube channels, they help make organizations, and you know, so there's white people out there.
Okay, but make organizations to do what though, carnal? Like what
To help.
If I were white, okay,
Right.
if I were white, okay, and I knew the history,
Right.
okay, but again, I'm many generations here. I was born and raised here. This is what I consider my home. This is all I know. For somebody to tell me like, hey, you took this land from us, I'd be like, what are you talking about? I didn't do anything. My parents didn't do anything. My grandparents didn't do anything. This is my home. I'm from here, wherever here is, but I'm from here. This is my home. Oh, don't you know what happened, you know, many years ago, how they, yes, I know that, but what is it that you want me to do? Oh, well, acknowledge it. Okay, I acknowledge that happened, which I didn't have nothing to do with. My parents had nothing to do with it. My great grandparents had nothing to do with it. This is my home, just like I'm raised here, just like it is, just like you were raised here. What is it that you want me to do? What? Oh, start an organization to do what? What is it? This is my home. You know, are you telling me to get out and move to some European country? Let's say I was Irish. I don't know. You want me to move to Ireland? I've never been to Ireland. I've never once been to Ireland. I don't speak with their accent. You know, I'm from here. This is my home. What is it that you would want a white person to do, though, Rudy?
Me personally, like, I wouldn't know, because I don't tell people this isn't your home. I don't go harsh deep.
Right. Yeah.
For me, as I just like to talk. I just want to see if they're aware, if they truly understand, if that's what it is. Like when I said before, when a white person said that I'm not an American, that Black people is more American than Mexicans, because he didn't understand. He didn't understand what history is, who we were. We already been here. And that's why those who understand, I acknowledge. I'd be like, look, they've written books about it. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's already white people who acknowledge it and share history. And so that's just me, as in who I am as a brown man. I'm like, look, there's already people doing it. They already out there making it aware. It's just me. I'm like, because there is Mexicans who are like, these people gotta go. Or like the Mexica movement, they always talked about, people got them misunderstood. They always said the racist white people have somewhere to go. When they say go home, you got more of a home. You got a homeland. Like, so that's who they always talked about to go home. But as in, I wouldn't know, because I don't tell people to go home. So I wouldn't expect, I can't answer that. What I would just say is, do they understand true history? That's it. Do they really, that's all I look forward to when I sometimes had these conversations with my white friends, because they grew up around Blacks and Browns. And like I've said, there's white friends that I had that told me like, yeah, my grandpa's still a racist, or, you know, my dad don't know why I'm hanging around with you Mexicans, because they're more older back in the days. And I've seen these white kids change. They're not raising their kids like that. They're like, I'm not hanging around. I don't go around my uncle no more. I don't got to. I'm older, you know? Like, it's just acknowledgement. And for me, I just, do you really understand what the system is? Do you really understand why Black and brown people feel like this? From if talking about what a white person's point of view. So it's just truly understanding, you know, the history of, you know, that's it. That's what for me, yeah.
Okay, but not all Black and brown feel that way, though. You know, not all Black and brown feel that way. And, you know, if a white guy says like, you know what, man, I don't care. It's in the past. I'm going to educate myself. I got a goal that I really want to reach in life. And that's what I'm going to shoot for. And I recommend you do the same thing. Okay. Does it make that white person a bad dude? He's saying that he doesn't really care about what happened in history. He's just saying like,
Right.
look, I'm gonna focus on my life, my education. I want to become a brain surgeon, and that's what I'm gonna focus on. And I recommend you do the same thing. Does it make him a bad person? He's trying to do something with his life and recommending that everybody else do the same.
That he don't care about the history
He's
of
saying it's
knowledge.
the past. There's nothing we can do about it. We're all here now. I want to be a brain surgeon, so I'm gonna dedicate myself to it, man. And I recommend that you go achieve your goals.
I mean, not to me, I don't think so. It's like that's what most people say anyways. That's what I've been hearing for the years. It's just kind of like that's what I come down to. It's not for everybody, like I said last time. And it's just for me is, do you understand? You don't care. There's a difference between not caring, but do you understand the history? See, yes, I understand, but I don't care. Okay. But he still understood, because I've actually kind of got people who, because a white buddy told me, he's like, white people don't care. We're not gonna do nothing, bro. Like, you think white people want to give up anything? And I was just like, damn, like,
man, hey, Rudy, I really
didn't
want
say
to
nothing.
talk.
I was like, I guess, like, I didn't feel offensive. I didn't even take it personal. I don't go around saying, hey, some guy told me, milling me. Like, that was his opinion, And, and like, I've heard stuff like that. It's just like, I've heard all that. It's just for us mostly, because this channel is people who watch us are our community.
Yes.
It's just mostly, do we understand truthfully where we come from and how history was built off our backs, this system, like that America is here because it was built off us. And it's just up to us who want to continue to be American. And, it's a good idea. Of course, why do you think I learned? Like people say, you live in America, take advantage of that. Yeah, that's why I'm learning. That's why I learn. That's why I'm out here putting this information to my people, like speaking this mind. I understand that, and it's just comes down to understanding. Like, do you really want to understand? But like I said, a lot of people don't want to think like me. When I tell someone, like I told you, like, we're already been taken control. Like, what do you mean we're already under control? Like, they don't mean, we're already in control, and I'm aware of that. Like, I'm never going to be fully decolonized. I'm a perfect product of colonialism. If some white man were to come to the future, I would be a perfect product of colonialism, whether if I think I'm not. Like, we don't know who we are. We're over here arguing about, or not arguing, debating, having these talks about, oh, is a white man good? Like, we're still trying to understand if we should understand each other. That's perfect. Boom. They're still fighting, not getting along. They're still not sure. They're still trying to understand.
Oh man, Rudy, like man, dog, I could talk to you for so long.
I gotta say,
but Rudy, okay, man, because this is too.
It's just understanding, though.
Okay, but Rudy,
understanding.
What do white people all get along though, man? Like, you're saying white people from the past.
Because
I mean,
you
look at
gotta
the wars
remember,
that
like,
took place that were just nothing but whites fighting each other. I mean,
it's just because we gotta remember, just this is the system we live in. This is how this system was built. So we're always gonna talk about this. Well, this is new for our people. Black people, they're ahead of us. See, most of when I tell people from our community, to go watch the Nation of Islam, the Hebrew Israelites, Sinetta TV, Dr. Boyce Watkins, go learn about Dr. Francis, go learn about all these Black historian revolutionaries. Like, they're already years ahead of us. They already had these conversations 5 years ago. That's what started that's what inspired me to start, because they talk about Mexicans acting Black. They talk about whites. They talk about this system. White people and Black people been having these debates, and we were never truly involved in it.
Okay, man, dog. Man, this is getting way too long. I truly believe, Rudy. I truly believe, okay, that we were never involved. Yes. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that we were never truly involved. But at the same time, how much of an effort, as a gente, did we really? Now, were we even you know, with blacks and whites, you know, there's a whole thing. You turn on the television, you just see black and whites, you know, that's about it. But were we even invited? Who knows, right? But here's the thing. Did we make an effort? Now, when I say we, I don't necessarily mean you and I, just as a hint, you know, we could go back a few generations. Make that effort to have the conversations, to put up the best foot forward, to educate the gente. How much of an emphasis is in the raza households to educate kids? Okay, it seems like it's starting to shift now. Now, when you say, hey, we're behind, okay, we're behind, but why are we behind? Okay, we could blame this, we could blame all kinds of things. Okay, but what I saw growing up in households, the problem was there in the home, in the households. Now putting an emphasis on family values, culture, education. There was a lot of just baby mama here, baby mama there, not really focusing on education. You and I talked about this, about trying to talk to homies, dog, about something that's educational. Like, that's lame, homie. You know, just crack open a beer and let's just kick it. You know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
I do see a shift now. And I hope it does change. Rudy, man, dog, there's so much I want to talk to you about, God. Not serio, homie.
Yeah.
But man, this video is already way too
damn
I
see that. I'm wondering if there's chicks here.
Hey, Rudy. Hey, everybody watching, man, go check out my boy Rudy from Chicano Ideas, man. That's my guy right there. And you know what's the good thing here, Rudy? Check this out, homie. The good thing here is that you and I, we probably don't agree on a lot of things, some things, many things, whatever it may be. But I respect you, and I love the fact, homie, that you got that open mind, and that, you know, you're getting information here, there, and everywhere, man. And just talking to you, the more I talk to you, you know, the more I talk to you, Holmes, the more we kind of disagree here and there. But the more I respect you, and the more I actually want to have a conversation with you, man. And the more I like you as an individual, dog. And that's tough to find today. Because today, when people disagree, all of a sudden they start becoming enemies, and they don't want anything to do with the person, and they just want to cut the person down. Nah, dog, it's hard to find that today, Rudy. So I appreciate you, God, man.
Hey, I appreciate that, man. I appreciate that. Hey,
Yeah.
I would have never thought, if you told me in high school, middle school, hey, you're going to be talking with Southsiders in LA in the future. Me? You know?
And see that there it is, you know, tribalism and everything, right? So, hey, man, I'm glad we're doing this, dog. Hey, this ain't the last time I'm going to have Rudy on here. We're definitely going to have him back on. But we're going to end it. Hey, Rudy, anything else, Carnan, before we
listen to that speech? I hope you listen. Yeah. And,
I will, man.
And next time, you know, we could talk about not being Latino, not being Hispanic, maybe more cultural now a little bit. Like, you know, I admit I act black a little bit, like not black, but I'm not straight Chicano, you know. My slang, I'm still got, like, I could talk about that, but I'm still not black enough for people to think that I act black up here, you know. But if I went out there, you know, it's just stuff like that. We'll get more into culture, maybe a little bit. Like,
let's do it, man. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. Hey, you guys go check out my boy Rudy at Chicano Ideas. It is there for Thecholotrucker, saying live your life like you're in the road. Touch Club. Oh, I'm doing my boxing. I cover boxing. So that was my boxing intro. As always, familia, live your life like you're on the road. Be aware of surroundings and always keep a safe distance. Blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family. Until next time, this is Thecholotrucker from my boy Rudy from Chicano Ideas. Over and out.
Much love.